Okay, here's my super cool and awesome book report. Yeah, it's about Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. So what's this whole thing about? Outliers is a philosophical novel, what you'd call a self-help book. It discusses the types of things that make someone an outlier, being gifted, skillful, and highly intelligent in a certain area, and people who exemplify this state. Interestingly, Outliers entirely discredits the narrative that one could be a self-made genius. Instead, it shows how things you may not to be expected to be biased towards a group of people actually is biased, and how we perceive those affected by said bias. I came across this book because both my film teacher and my ASL teacher recommended it to me, and it kind of changed my life. So, the first philosophy presented in Outliers that I'd like to share is the Matthew effect, based on a quote from the Bible, which I will read that quote when I find it. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. From Matthew 25:29. So this basically means that people are looking for like entirely arbitrary things that supposedly mean that they're going to excel in a certain area, or like they have potential. Now, as a thought exercise, I want you to take a look at the personal information from all of these boys who played for the Medicine Hat Tigers in 2007. I'm going to give you a moment to pause and to think about it. Okay, have you thought about it yet? If you were looking at the birth dates, then you may have realized it. If you guess that their birth dates are for the most part concentrated within the first 4 months, you'd be correct. The reason for this will make sense with context. The Children's Canadian Hockey Leagues are typically grouped together by age range, and the eligibility for age-based hockey assortment ends at January 1st. I have a quote from the book to read about this. This being Canada, the most hockey-crazed country on Earth, coaches start to select players from the traveling rep squad, the all-star teams, at the age of 9 or 10. And of course, they are more likely to be as talented the bigger and more coordinated players who have had the benefit of a critical extra months of maturity. As suggested in the quote, the older children are given more of an advantage physically. Coaches scout out the leagues who are more likely to success in major leagues as adults, and because of the extra months of development, the older children are most likely to be selected, giving high-level training, and moved into professional hockey. Now, this phenomenon is not in any way exclusive to Canadian hockey, otherwise how would it be a phenomenon? The same thing also occurs in Czech soccer, American baseball, and European motorsport. Guess how I know this one? Okay, the next philosophy, it's not really all that central to Gladwell's argument, but it's still worth noting. You know who the Beatles are. I think it's John, Paul, Ringo, and George. And then you most likely know who Bill Gates is, founder of Microsoft, coding genius. The idea presented here is that one must hone in on and practice one skill of choice for at least 10,000 hours in their lifetime before they achieve mastery. The Beatles practiced for 10 hours in Munich before they were scouted out by a British recording agency, and Bill Gates was able to study coding for 10,000 hours in his life while at MIT. The joke, it's kind of a joke because 10,000 hours, or about 461 days, is an impossibly enormous amount of time to be spending on just one thing, and one must acquire external help to truly achieve mastery. So, like, these two definitely had a lot of help in getting so successful. The third section, The Problem with Geniuses, is my absolute favorite part of the book. Gladwell compares and contrasts two so-called geniuses and how they differ in their opportunistic thinking. J. Robert Oppenheimer, the creator of the atom bomb, born to two wealthy artists in the richest part of Manhattan, and Chris Langan, a poor farmer boy with a gift for theoretical mathematics. Now, I'm going to describe to you a scenario that happened when both of these men were in college. So, Oppenheimer, he poisoned his tutor, and was sent to a psychiatric institution and put on probation, and he was also expelled from Cambridge. While Langan lost his scholarship to the University of Montana because his mom didn't agree to sign off on it. So these two both got expelled from school, but Oppenheimer was able to talk his way back into Cambridge, while Langan was not. Why do you think this is? And as a hint, it has nothing to do with bribery or other illegal methods of coercion. I'm going to give you another minute to think. You guessed it, the reason is classism, but not classism in the way you would expect. So, where is this quote? Okay, so there was this sociologist named, where's my quote? Oh, okay, so there's this sociologist named Annette LaRue who, back in the 90s, she conducted an experiment where she zoned in on 12 different families with third grader children, and she and her assistants went and followed them during their day-to-day activities. And they came up with the concept of concern cultivation, a parenting tactic that ensures gifted children are successful. And interestingly enough, it was only really present in the middle class, like, richer, more, like, presentable families. So, in a concerned cultivation environment, children are given at a young age the resources and ability to advocate for themselves, to stick it to the man per se. Children tend to exhibit anti-authoritarian behavior, questioning and challenging everything their superiors say, and the parents are more attentive towards what their kids are doing. The parents, like, pretty much controls their extracurricular activities and such. Meanwhile, the working class parenting methods that do not exhibit concerned cultivation, children are either neglected and therefore not groomed properly for self-advocacy, or they are taught specifically to avoid conflict with authority. Children are more inclined to respect authority. They slowly nod, stay quiet, look away, and they don't do anything that could be misconstrued as defiant. And the parents commonly leave their kids to their own devices. Oh, shit. So, you probably can guess that this was how Oppenheimer was raised. He was raised in a concerned cultivation environment, again, an upper middle class family, and he was able to advocate for himself and get himself back into Cambridge without the help of anyone else. While Langan just didn't, like, question the principles of University of Montana when he was expelled, so he lost his scholarship and never went back to college again, despite being a genius. Okay, this is the last section I have in this presentation, but the book is much longer. Joe Flom of the Scatter Arp Slate Media and Flom law firm was an incredibly lucky man. This guy. He was the pinnacle of what Gladwell will call a successful person. And in Outliers, Gladwell demonstrates 3 contributing factors to Flom's status as a self-made man. If the self-made man was true at all, this would be it. Okay, first of all, the importance of being Jewish. Flom was born in the 1930s, and he began to practice law in the 50s. People were really fucking anti-Semitic in the 50s, and lawyers would not hire And law firms would not hire Jewish lawyers to work for them. So he said, fuck you, I'm going to go make my own law firm with blackjack and hookers. And that law firm ended up being the most successful in all of American history. Second, he was part of the silent generation. They all died in World War II. He didn't have that many competitors. Third, New York City in the 1930s, big business booms from World War II. That rhymes. Like the economy was like skyrocketing in the 50s and 60s after World War II. It's what we call a post-war economic miracle, and Flum happened to be like extremely lucky in all three of these areas. I don't have a slide for it, but oh wait, I do. So then we had to do a slide about the author. So this is Malcolm Gladwell. I know he is extremely ugly. Born 3rd of September 1963, he is an American philosopher and an author of 5 New York Times best-selling books. Coincidentally, all colors of the rainbow. There's Outliers, Talking to Strangers, David and Goliath, The Tipping Point, and Blink. I really, really want to read Talking to Strangers because it's about psychology, and I love psychology. And finally, why I recommend this book. It's just life-changing, honestly. I know a lot more about like how one can become successful now than I did previously. Like it gives me a lot more hope for being successful because I can see myself in the I can see myself in this, the concerned cultivation part. I can see myself in Oppenheimer. Like, this book honestly just gives me more hope for becoming a more successful person, and that's why you should read it. It makes you less depressed. Okay, thank you for reading. Bye bye.